What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 5 cool mods for Skyrim Special Edition. So this is a series where I'm going to show you guys some interesting mods that come out for each and every week. Basically, there's a lot of new mod releases for Skyrim. I'm going to try and help you siphon through those, find the ones that are actually worth a download, and kind of filter out the ones that maybe aren't so good or not really worth your time. Each of these episodes is going to show you, as you may have guessed, 5 cool mods that are at least mods that I found to be pretty cool. I mean, hopefully you do as well. Regardless, this episode we have a pretty diverse bunch: a follower, an armor mod, a texture mod, and even a world map mod to mix everything up. If you guys do enjoy this series, I really encourage you to consider subscribing. But with all that being said, let's just jump right into it. So the first mod I do want to show you guys is going to be called Recorder. This is going to be a standalone and fully voiced companion mod, and just take a listen to her voice.
Oh yeah, that. I guess I should explain. I record the events that happen on the Dragonborn, your adventures, and keep everything in these files to make sure I get the story right. As for the talking, well, just think of it as me keeping mental notes. I don't think Skyrim features voice recorders, so you wouldn't understand.
So it's going to be one of the kind of premier companion mods. There's basically 3 of them that I do know off the top of my head. That's going to be Recorder, that's going to be Inigo, and going to be one I forgot the name of. These were the 3 go-to companion mods for Oldrim, and now in Skyrim Special Edition, only Recorder and Inigo have been ported over, and again, these are going to be the premier, best sounding, best voiced companion mods. Recorder actually has a bit of an interesting story behind her. She's going to be kind of a character that is from different games, in the sense that she is following Dragonborn and actually is taking notes about him, but actually was also in Morrowind and some of the other video games that kind of follow the same genre. I believe also one of the Dragon Age games is on that, and again, this is not like she wasn't actually in those games, it's just the lore behind her. It's pretty interesting, and more than anything else, pretty different than some of the lore behind some of the other characters. Maybe not the most immersive thing in the world, but honestly, I think it's pretty cool nonetheless. So beyond all that, she is pretty viable. She's meant to be kind of a good looking character. Obviously, I don't have all the kind of makeup and hair mods installed, so she could look a little bit better if you do have some of those. Regardless, there's a reason the old Recorder got so many downloads. It is because when you have her as your companion, as you're playing through the game, you're going to notice how good her voice actually sounds. The voice work on this is top notch and really unparalleled, except by Inigo and the 3rd mod I forget the name of. So I definitely think it's worth a download, even if just to check her out for a little bit. All around a very cool mod, and definitely one of the premier follower mods we have got for Skyrim. Up next, we do have the Noldor content pack. What this mod is going to add in is a few sets of armors as well as a few different weapons for you to use with the new armors. It does technically add in, again, 6 armors, but these aren't exactly 6 totally unique armors. They're basically the same model, but just retextured to look a little bit different. On top of that, there's basically 2 identical sets of each of these armors. So you're going to have the regular versions of the 3, and then you're going to have the royal versions of the 3. This is more or less meant to make it so when you get to the higher part of the game and you're a higher level and more equipped, you could actually switch over to the royal version, so you don't have to kind of abandon this armor that was relatively cool. At the same time, if you're earlier in the game, you could just use the regular version, so you don't have an overpowered piece of armor that does look very cool. Little details like that are actually making this mod stand out pretty noticeably from some of the other mods out there, which kind of just have a static position in the game, and if you get too high of a level or you're too early in the game, you really can't use it. On top of that, it also adds in a shield and a sword. Both of these are pretty high quality, not the greatest shield or sword mod. I'd probably use something else from a different mod, but all around, this armor pack, or content pack as it is called, is pretty cool, and I definitely think it's worth downloading. The armor itself, I think, looks very cool. It definitely has an elven feel to it and a royal feel even beyond that, but again, very high quality. The model and texture quality are top notch, as well as it's just kind of cool and fun to use. So next up, we have a relatively simple mod called SABRECAT. What this is going to do is retexture all the different SABRECATs in the game. So that's going to be the snowy one, the regular one, as well as the Veil Cat added in by one of the DLCs. So my policy on mods like this, where it's kind of just a retexture of a singular item rather than maybe a mod that would retexture all the animals, is I actually prefer the singular ones. This may not be for everyone, but the way I see it is, even though it's going to be annoying to install all these singular mods initially, with singular mods, you can almost expect or know that a lot of these are going to be higher quality than what a pack would be. There's more time dedicated to the singular mod, so the SABRECAT itself is going to look better than if we just had an animal overhaul pack, which do exist, and I actually do think these ones look better than some of the texture overhauls added in by those packs. Regardless, some of the texture overhauls are extremely noticeable, especially when you compare them to other animals in the game. I think I spawned in a wolf or a chicken or something, and if you look at the two, you could definitely see like the SABRECAT looks much nicer, especially when you're walking around and fighting them in first person. All around, it's a very simple mod, but one I think a lot of people should download simply because it comes at no cost to you other than a little file size as well as one mod spot, but it does make your game look pretty noticeably nicer when you're taking on some of these creatures. So up next, we do have a quality world map. This is kind of a hard one to make a video on. Basically, it makes the world map look nicer. There are a few different versions of this mod. I'm using the vivid one with deeper roads. So basically, things are going to look a little bit sharper and nicer, but it's also going to have more defined roads. You could have the classic map with world roads and just etc, etc. This is one of those mods that I think everyone should just download. I think it's a noticeable improvement over the world map. It makes everything look a lot nicer, as well as it makes actually getting around pretty easier, because well, now you can actually see the roads that you'll be taking to walk places if that's the way you do travel. So last but not least, we have Kyne's warrior armor. This is going to add in a very tribal and kind of, I guess really just warrior feeling armor. I very much like this. I feel like there's not enough mods that take advantage of this category of armors where you feel like you're just kind of a rough rider living off the environment or something like that. The armor itself has like a bunch of pelts slated over you. It doesn't actually come with any boots or shoes, so that's actually awesome. Very good for the immersive feel. But again, I just think it is very high quality and looks pretty cool when you're using it on your character. Probably going to want to use a character that fits better with an armor of this type. So maybe a warrior or kind of just an orc like I'm using that, you know, it's kind of believable to live off the elements like so. The main reason I like this again is because it's different. It's not your typical chest plate armor or anything like that. It actually feels kind of unique and it fits very well into the Skyrim lore. That's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this episode of 5 cool mods. I do hope you guys enjoyed as always. If you did make it to this part in the video, let me know in the comments down below by commenting pelt, like an animal pelt. Also on top of that, let me know which of these was your favorite mod. Do you have one that you like really stood out to you? Personally, I really like the Noldor content pack, although Kyne's warrior armor is pretty cool. I actually personally prefer those plate armors and very knightly and heroic armors. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.